Welcome to the Man Down Podcast. My name is Ted Knutson, and we are once again here to fuck up your life in the very best way. I'm joined, as always, by lovable co host Patrick Van Straten. Wave to the people. And
Hello.
we are going to do Reader Powered again. We are talking about feeling out of sync in your dating space from your year group. We're also going to answer a question about what would we tell our 17-year-old selves. We're going to find out who Patrick's favorite male actor is. We're also going to talk about things that we've been excited about in the past year and various other topics, including a funky one about a girl making her friends call her boyfriend his nickname. That's all. You'll laugh at it. We'll see you soon. All right. So we are reader powered once again, as we do
Mm.
about every 2 weeks. Despina, who is our show producer, and Patrick, who is our show co host, have been out there scouring the internet for useful comments, useful ideas, questions, things on Reddit that made us laugh or cringe, and your own requests for us to cover certain topics. So that's what we're going to get into today. Where would you like to start, sir? Actually, I'm going to start this one. I know where I
Okay,
want to start.
great.
I'm 17. What would you tell
Mm.
your 17-year-old self? I assume this has been covered, but I'd like to see what you think. We have not covered what we would tell our 17-year-old self, at least not that I can remember.
That's a good one. It's an interesting one. Like there are so many different angles I'd want to take on this. My the first thing that comes to mind is being right is ultimately going to be less valuable to you than being happy. So I think that at that age I approached every conversation as an argument and every argument as a I'm right, you're dead. I don't know if you ever listened to that, but years ago, like the Wreath lectures, it was Wole Soyinka did a talk called "I'm Right, You Are Dead" about this, about polarization. But I think that was my attitude then. It was just like I need to kill you in this argument, and in a debate, I still feel that way, and I think that's okay in a kind of sterile debate setting. But I think that I drew really hard lines and I was extremely kind of binary and black and white in my thinking, and that's something I still kind of have to struggle with even now. Um, I think that if at the time I'd just said I'd been able to say what would actually make me feel closer to people, what would actually help them to understand where I'm coming from, rather than treat it like a debate, keep it all in the intellectual realm. I didn't want to show people my feelings. So I think if I had shown people my feelings more, then I would have felt closer to people and I would have made better connections. That's
I have two things around this. One is that I was an entirely different person before and after kids.
hmm
And I became a much kinder, more well rounded person, a bit like you were, like, sort of brutally logical and debate and argumentative in different ways, thinking that you can probably your way through it. So that was one area. And it's like, maybe if I could bring that forward, that would be useful. But at my age 17 moment was when this happened to me and it changed my life. So I grew up in farm country, Indiana. I would say Chicago, but like it was sort of in the Chicago viewing area. It's easy to understand that way.
hmm
And my school was like not quite 1,000 people across the high school. So 4 years of that. Classes were about 200 people. We had one black kid in the school. We had like two Asian people, all of whom had been adopted by families from from other
okay.
places. So like
Mm.
super super white and crazy levels of conservative Christianity there. And for years, I felt like I was never going to be happy because I could not find people that understood me, whether that's my
Mm.
sense of humor or like the things I was interested in. Like it was just horrible. Then I went to the US Naval Academy of all places for like a 5-day summer recruitment that they gave to all these people that got like certain levels of test scores, and they're like, oh yeah, come to the Naval Academy for like sort of a pretty cheap camp. And it was really just a recruitment camp that they're trying to recruit smart people to get into the military service academies. And when I was there, I had the best time and I met so many smart people that had goofy, wonderful senses of humor. And it completely changed my mood and my outlook on life going forward. And so, what I would say is
Mm.
for whomever you are and whomever you currently are, you will eventually find your people when you're able to have the freedom to move out into the world. And if you're not finding your people where you are, you might need to go out into the world to find those people, because it is
Mm.
such a big difference in your life knowing that you will have people who can understand you and that you will be understood.
Mm. I think that's really nice. That is such an experience of being 17, isn't it? as well. Like there are the people who there are the people who feel really happy in their social circle and who think it's going to be like this forever, and then there are other people who are like, I think I might be lonely until I die, and neither one of those is like is a particularly good place to be, because with one you're completely unprepared for when it goes wrong, and with the other you start to feel that you're not like worthy of it, or that there's no one like you.
I listen to people who say, "Oh yeah, high school was like one of the best times of my life," and I look at them like they've got six heads. So I have no idea what this could possibly mean.
I was pretty happy at school. Like I had a really uncommonly good group of friends, and I didn't mind school. But the idea of going back there makes me feel sick. Like I have nightmares about going back to school. You're just like, why the fuck would you ever want to do that to yourself?
Mm.
Yeah, that sounds like hell on earth. But I mean, I think when you're 17, even just trying to look at your, like, trying to get a bit of outside perspective on your life might be good. Also, objectively, people are going to say a load of shit to you that's annoying because it sounds patronizing, but they are right. So, like, the stuff that feels really important now is not going to feel important in 5 years. Totally true. The people who are popular now not going to be the most popular people in 5 years. Totally true. It's okay to not be certain what you want to do, to try some stuff, decide against it, fuck up. All this stuff is totally fine. And the people who seem like they know exactly what they want to do, I want to be a doctor, and they go and do their like pre-med and all that stuff, and they've got their relationship that they got into in the first week of university, or that those people who seem like they're on the perfect track, they will get derailed at some point. So you're not behind anyone. You've just got to find your own pace to move at, I think.
Every decade, I seem to like reinvent myself in different ways,
Mm.
and
Like Madonna.
not intentionally is what I was going to say. Unlike Madonna,
Mm.
what Madonna goes through intent. I think Gaga also has been intentional, but amazing. But yeah, like so, you know, he's right. Like things are not as big a deal as you currently think they are, but like just be willing to go out into the world, be open to opportunities, explore as much as you can, and you'll eventually like be able to find a lot of things that you weren't expecting.
Mm. Yeah.
Cool. Uh, where do you want to go next?
Okay. I quite like this first one. Okay. It says, "Hey Pat and Ted, don't ever call me Pat. My name is Patrick. But I'll give you a pass this time. I love this show. Okay,
The
you've brought me
YouTube
around.
children call him Pato, which always makes me think of duck.
Yeah, I know, right? I
Hello,
think the
ducky.
same thing. I was wondering if I could get your opinion on this thought. I'm quite an earnest, sensitive, kind man. I'm also queer. I believe I'm a catch, and there's plenty of evidence to substantiate that. But I can't help but feel like I'm not what women my age, 24, are really looking for. I do okay dating, but I feel like there's a disconnect between how I am as a man and what they're looking for or what they expect. I feel these traits will serve me more as I grow closer to 30, and maybe their priorities change. Do either of you have any experience with this? And basically, your worth being seen as you age. Ted, initial thoughts.
Be yourself. It sounds like you're on a good path and you're comfortable with yourself and continuing to embody that person. It sounds magical, and people will respond to it over time. But what we just said about the 17-year-old thing is also true about the 24-year-old, 25-year-old thing. Like
Mm,
things will change a lot. And what women are looking for will change a lot over the course of even the next 5 years, but certainly the next 10.
yeah, no, I totally agree. And look, we're talking here based on our experience, but realistically, people 10 years younger than me, like you guys are living in a different world. Like you're a queer man dating women. If you'd said that to somebody like 30 years ago, they'd have said, like, what on earth are you talking about? So you are having novel experiences, and like it's understandable that there are going to be some struggles in there because you're trying to figure it out and it's already complicated. The one thing I would say here is it does sound like you're a good person. It sounds like you've got some self-esteem as well, that that there's evidence that you're a catch. Don't allow the way that people are perceiving you now to curdle your views of them. So when you say women my age don't seem to be looking for somebody like me, try not to get into the mindset that like women my age just don't appreciate me. Like maybe the women around you right now, you're not their cup of tea, but there will be women out there who would love you. Like it's just the case. Like numerically, it's almost impossible that that's not the case. Continue trying to find them, and it's very easy, I think, when you're in this position to feel the kind of siren song of like the misogynistic bro crowd. I mean, you're unlikely to go there because of who you are, but you know that thing of you deserve better and I'm a nice guy and all this kind of stuff. Carry on being who you are, and it actually will get better. Because as Ted says, even when you're 24, a lot of people are still dating with, and this will always go on. There'll always be people like this. But the younger you are, the more people are dating with status in mind, I think. They want the person who looks good to their friends, the person they can show off to their parents who's on the right career track, whatever it might be. If you're a little bit unconventional, it might be a bit harder for you at the beginning.
Or
But
lifestyle, like dating the
sure.
lifestyle is what people
Yeah, that's true.
do often as well. Like, oh, I want these people that want to go out every weekend, or that want to go
Sure.
to the clubs and do this and do that. And if you're not that person, it's fine. Don't choose the other stuff, especially since that's much less healthy for you. The other thing I would say is like be willing to dabble upstream in the age gap. Like we've talked about age gap. It
That's true.
goes both
Mm.
ways, and it's not, women will often do the exact same thing. They will do the same thing because men their age are not looking, or are not even responding to like who they are and what they want to be, and so they'll look for somebody that respects that. You're totally welcome to do that, and
Mm.
like explore and see what your own information gathering tells you around that. I think that's kind of a fun, interesting idea, especially if you are a bit of a catch. Like, go flex your muscles.
And even if you just talk to some people older than you, if you have some older friends, if you've got an older sibling or whatever who's got friends that you could talk to about it, find somebody who you could chat to and say like, "Am I deluding myself?" And honestly, like you'll just get a better perspective on it. But you sound like a good person, and if you're a good person, then you will always be hot to the right people. That is my view. Being cool is hot. So people will be into it at some stage. You just got to keep the faith.
So this one's going to make Patrick smile because, well, you'll see. Hi, both. Love the podcast and think you're doing something truly great. Please never stop.
You're welcome.
Yeah, see, there you go. In this vein, would you please consider doing an episode or segment on motivation habit forming? Struggling a lot with this recently, and any tips on this would be really helpful. There's lots I'd like to do, but I lack the courage and gumption to actually do it. Pathetic as it sounds, lots of love.
I feel like this is your métier, not mine. I think this is calling Ted's name
Why? Why do you feel that?
because you're better at this shit than I am. Like, I mean, like this is some of this stuff is therapy adjacent. For example, like motivation. There can be resistance there. It can be about what you truly want. It can be about like deeper meaning, all that kind of stuff. That's worth thinking about. Courage definitely comes back to fear setting, so that's a good episode to head back to if you're thinking about this. But I think that you're just a more productive person than me, Ted. So so I think that you're a good candidate for this. Like you just get a lot of shit done.
Yeah, well, partly because I don't have small children anymore. Like when I had small children, I was much less productive.
I could not be productive even when I didn't have children. I'm that good. Like
Okay,
I'm capable of doing nothing with nothing going on in my life.
different levels of expertise here. I got you. So the first thing is that habits form through micro habits. Like you need to just be intentional about doing the thing regularly. In the last episode, we just talked about running, and just knowing that you can start to run is fine. Do you know when I started running? So first of all, Patrick's telling us in that episode all these times, and then he's telling us about like his weightlifting and how he like ratchets up the scale. He does this and does that. I'm like, I never focus on my time. I don't really focus on how much weight I lift. I know if it was more or less, but like really, I'm like, did I make myself sore? Like 2 days ago, I got to the point that my hands were like all shaky after I lifted. I was like, oh, I finally got back
Yeah.
to like the good spaces. That was a good one. But I had to be much more binary on my workout stuff because that was what allowed me to push through it. I got rid of so many perfectionist instincts about building any particular habit because I didn't want to min max more things in my fucking life. I have done that in too many different spaces. I didn't want more data to analyze. I was just like, I just want to be less fat and feel better about myself. With micro habits, it is really about how do I just make sure that I do the thing. And so with exercise, even when I was hungover, like I went out and did the thing to whatever minimum extent that I could do. Even when I had only had like 5.5 hours sleep, I'm like, well, I can go run 2 miles instead of 4 miles. Like, and I just did the thing. And many times my body would respond and say, yeah, we got 3 miles in us. We got 3.5 today. That's pretty good.
Hmm.
simply by forming the habit over and over and over again at even a minimal level and making sure that it happens will help you get to the point that you're able to adopt it in a comfortable way more often. Now, I will also tell you that I don't do everything that way and I fail at some stuff on my own. So I need to learn how to play guitar. And I'm bad at it because I'm bad at it. and I'm like, oh, I'm not really in the mood to be bad at something right now. Like
Hmm.
that's like you have to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable about every new skill that you try to adopt. Once in a while, you'll have a surprising aptitude inside of you. You're like, whoa, I'm much better at this than I would have possibly figured that I could be. But for the most part, like doing anything new takes an adaptation period, it takes learning, and it just takes time and practice. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable and feel that when you are uncomfortable with that and when you feel like, ah, it sucks to be bad, that's when you're learning and growing.
Yes.
That's the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I always go back to language learning with this. Like, if you're trying to speak a different language and you're frustrated that you can't say the thing that you're trying to say, that just means that you've found out where your limit is for now and you know where you need to go next. That's the good stuff. If you just turn up and just say like, "Oh, hello, my name is I am X years old," you're never really getting anywhere. You're barely speaking the language. I think with this, making the steps as small as possible is great, and also trying to take a broader view where possible. So, for example, say you're trying to lose weight, don't like weigh yourself every week. Say you want to weigh yourself. You don't have to weigh yourself, but say you want to weigh yourself. Like, you can either weigh yourself every day and average it at the end of the week, or you can weigh yourself every couple of weeks, every month, and just check in from now and then, or measure your waist. Like, there are ways to do it, to do this kind of thing. Similarly, if you're trying to improve your sleep, um, maybe you can try and have a solid bedtime and wear an eye mask and all this kind of stuff. Get a tracker, and then don't think, oh well, I slept really badly that night, I fucked up that night, I did well that night, but that night was bad. At the end of the week, just say, have I ticked up a little bit? And just give yourself the grace to be imperfect, to have some steps back. Similarly, if you are trying to get fit, like, don't try and do too much at once. This is not just in fitness, but
People blow up.
yeah, they're like, right, I'm going to drop my calories by 500 a day, and I'm also going to run 5K every day. And you're like, brother, that will not work. Run 5K if you want to, like, build up to that. And then once you're doing that and you know you can do it, then maybe try and drop your calories a bit. If you do it all at once, you're going to be like, this sucks, flame out. I never want to do it again. So look at these habits you're forming as like an investment over time. There will be setbacks. You will be imperfect, but just a little bit of improvement, often like 5% here, 5% there, and suddenly your life feels totally different. Or at least that's the case in my experience, when I've tried to improve things like fitness, like sleep, like being present with my children, like keeping in touch with my friends. Just a little bit here and there, I think, tends to go a long way.
Yeah. So micro habits, like don't get discouraged, like get used to feeling uncomfortable because that is part of the process. And I think one thing that was lost in there a little bit is like, yes, check in at some more distant time, but also make sure there are process checkups inside of that as well. So like, are you actually tracking your calories on that? Or are you actually making sure that you do the exercise as opposed to hoping that it all works out a month from
Yeah.
now is
Yeah.
yeah. So like, there are stop gaps, but you'll get there. And growth is not the easiest thing no matter what, unless like it's something that you're like crazy passionate about and that just sort of pulls you into it and pulls you along
Mm.
behind it.
That's the
So
thing. When this person said motivation, right? You're just like,
yeah,
yeah, motivation's wonderful, but as we've said before, discipline is the thing. So like, see it as like, this is this thing that I do, rather than like, oh, do I feel it today? Like, if you're trying to exercise more, then don't be like, am I in the mood to go to the gym? You're like, have to go to the gym. The gym's what I do today. I think that's really helpful. But I like this person has signed off lots of love. And also, when you say pathetic as that may sound, like, it's not pathetic at all. This is fucking hard. Like, if everybody could just adopt new habits like that, then we would all be absolutely killing it. And we're not. Everybody's struggling in at least some aspect of their life at any given moment. So it's all right, man. Just keep trying.
as much as Patrick said that I'm good at being productive, I am often totally failing to kill it. We have a nuanced one here that I think is Okay. I'm curious about your take. I'm not even sure that I have a clean take on this.
Okay, cool.
Hi, guys. I'm interested to hear your opinion on the situation that happened to me. I have a friend at work who is female. First of all, this is where you've gone wrong. No, that's a joke.
Men and women
I have
can't
a
be
friend.
friends. That's
No,
that's our podcast stance.
it's not. You're going to get me in trouble now. So I had a friend at work who was female. We get along really well. We were friends for years. She was in a long-term relationship and I wasn't looking for a partner, so we didn't have anything romantic going on, but that didn't prevent rumors circulating about the nature of our relationship. I reassured her and others that it was not like that, but eventually it got too much for her and she started to distance herself and she fell out with me over this issue. She said the rumors were too much and told others she thought I had feelings for her and that it made her uncomfortable. I could go into more detail, but it was terrible to lose a friend who was like a sister to me that I cared for over this. What are your thoughts on the situation and how would you handle it?
Man, that sucks. I'm glad that you said the thing, she was like a sister to me at the end, because up until then, I was like, we haven't really got a full throated denial that you did have feelings here. But I take you at your word that you didn't. It's really difficult when there are rumors going around, and those rumors are particularly difficult for women. You know, it tends to always be like a criticism. She's the one in a relationship, and I can imagine that that was pretty hard, and that she ultimately made the decision to protect her, maybe her reputation. I don't know how people talked about her, but to protect her relationship. I guess that in the moment, what might have been helpful if you could have done it, and you may have done this, so I'm not just claiming these are like foolproof rules, but would have been to say, what would reassure you here? Because it might have been, for example, that if she could have introduced you to her partner and you'd spent some time with him or her and like got to know them, that you could have made clear, like, I'm not a threat, like, this is somebody I really value, like, we're friends. And that might have helped reassure them a little bit, and also given her a bit of ammunition if people were talking shit. To be honest with you, people at work are children, like they really are, and people are always going to gossip about stuff like this. And for some people they won't care, and for other people it's just incredibly hard. Like, I don't know, you may not know what her background is with having rumors spread about her, but I remember when I was at uni, for example, there were rumors being spread about me and this girl who, like, there was absolutely nothing going on with at all. She was, it's just totally a friend, but there were rumors going around about it, and that even started to wear on me after a while, and I don't really give a shit about that stuff. But eventually I went up to a guy at a drinks thing and I was just like, why the fuck are you talking about me all the time? Like, shut the fuck up. And like, we had an argument about it, and I was just like, you know, keep my fucking name out of your mouth. But
Kicked
people
him in the
are,
shins a few times.
yeah, but people are like, I would have had to, he was really tall. But people are like this at work. And I think I don't I don't it really sucks for you that you lost a friend over this, but it's really hard to blame her for taking the steps that she took. Especially if she did genuinely think that you had feelings for her. She might have not thought that, though. That might have been a face-saving measure with the other people at work, like showing that, oh no, I've actually behaved really well, and maybe, and I've cut this off when it got inappropriate. But if you still think about this person and it hasn't been too long, I think it'd be worth getting in touch and saying, like, look, the loss of that friendship really hurts me. And I never had feelings towards you that were anything other than platonic. I always saw you as a sister. And I wasn't waiting for you to get out of a relationship. I just want to be friends. If there's a way that we can repair that part of our relationship, if there's a way that you can be reassured and we can reconnect, I'd really like that, because connections are rare. And if you were friends for years, man, then like, there's a lot of work that's gone into that. It sucks for it to be thrown away.
Two things from my side. One, as Patrick said, people at work love other people's drama. Gives them something to
Yeah.
like focus on and gossip about. And so you became other people's drama, whether you had any interest in that or not. The other thing is like you can't control other people's insecurities. And so as Patrick has said himself and me in particular, given my position at different times, like the words "I don't give a fuck what other people think" like come out of my mouth a lot. And and people around me were like, "Well, you know, I kind of do. You might need to think about that. You might need to think about that." I'm like, "Look, I can't control their responses. I can control what I say. I can control how I behave. But at some point, like if people are freaked out about XYZ, like they need to get their shit together and get over it, or like, you know, we need to find some path that like extricates whatever the real problem is, or I'll attack it head on. Like, would you like me to attack it head on with the individuals that, and then they're like, no. It's like, well,
Mm.
exactly. So we're in a situation where like, I'm going to choose to ignore it. They'll choose to gossip about the shit later because there's nothing in this, whatever it is. And honestly, like, I've got other things to think about that are much more important than somebody else's bullshit drama. You can't control other people's insecurities. If your friend here was highly insecure about anybody gossiping about her ever, like, you ran into that issue that wasn't your fault, it became your problem. But as Patrick says, like, maybe you can have a frank, vulnerable conversation that, attempts to repair it, and says, what would reassure you if you wanted to go back and have this friendship again? And if not, you just kind of have to write it off and eventually sort of move through it and get on.
I think it would be cool to go to the people gossiping and say, "You're fucking up my friendship here. Like, it's a problem." Because basically, you want to act in such a way here that it's clear you've got nothing to hide.
Mhm.
And so that might mean talking to this person's partner, but equally confronting people in the office and saying, like, "We are friends. I constantly hear that you're talking about what's going on between us. There's nothing going on between us. We are friends. Can
And
you
you've
grow up?"
managed to ruin a good friendship. Like, was
Yeah.
this your intent?
Are
Like,
you
is this how
fucking proud
you?
of yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or do you think that men and women can't be friends? Like, what's going on with you? Like, there's absolutely no need to do this. I think that that's a completely valid way to go with this. To say, I'm actually really hurt that like I lost a friendship because you couldn't keep your mouth shut, and the fact that you think that, I'm assuming you're a man, but a man and a woman can't be friends at work without one of them having an ulterior motive is really fucking sad. Like, I think that would also be, I think, a completely legitimate way to handle it, because if you're pissed off, you might as well go to the person who's pissed you off. And what's annoying here is that the people who've lost nothing are the people who were talking shit. They're the only people who've lost nothing in all this. That sucks. Fuck them. So yeah, I'm all for going to them and saying, like, no, I'm going to make you feel uncomfortable by showing you the consequences of what's happened, by showing you how hurt I am, and you need to take responsibility for
Young, angry Patrick and I would agree. Slightly older
it.
Patrick, or slightly older me, is like, yeah, this is pretty aggressive line. Uh, the next one here made me laugh because I didn't know where it was going. So we've got a
Okay.
Reddit topic that really made me
I tried to
chuckle.
go for fun Reddit topic. Well, one fun one and one, maybe a bit more complicated.
I, a 29-year-old female, am unsure of how to go about my friend's refusal to not call my boyfriend, 35-year-old male, by his nickname. So my initial thought here was, and there's more to this, I was like, oh, so we're like, unnaming something, or dead naming somebody.
Dead
This is
naming.
not this is
Exactly my
not
thought.
okay. Absolutely
Exactly.
not. Wait for it.
It's so much dumber than that.
Hi everyone. My boyfriend prefers to be called by his nickname, Hammer. He prefers his actual name to only be used by family and me. I have a few friends who refuse to call him by his nickname. Some of the reasons have
Hmm. They went
some of
wrong.
the reasons that have been given are because it sounds like a porn name. They feel uncomfortable calling a grown man by that name, and they think it's weird. Luckily, it's only a few of my friends. The others just complied. The sheep bod. Because of these friends' refusal, I have not introduced them to him, and it's starting to cause conflict with those friends. He and I have been together over a year. Please share advice on how I can go about this and avoid conflict while respecting my partner boundaries. Have you ever had to deal with a situation like this before?
This reminds me of, do you remember that? Did you ever see that clip from like one of those kind of like Instagram dating things, like TikTok, YouTube dating things, where this guy was like, "Hi, my name is YBG Don," to this girl, and she's like, "But what's your name? What do you mean YBG Don? What does it mean?" He was like, "Stands for Young, Black, and Gifted, and I'm the Don." And she was just like, "I'm not going to call you that. What's your
What's
name?"
your
And
name?
she just kept saying like 100 times, "But what's your name though?" Like, she was like, "I can't call you that." And look, okay, he uses his ordinary name with his family and with you. So it's not like he's like, that name is, like some footballers, they don't want their surname on their kit because they're like, that's my dad's name and I don't have a relationship with him. And it's not a dead name situation either. So it's not like I need to leave this part of me behind. He seems to think my name is very special and I reserve it for use with him. for use with like very special people in my life. But like, no, your name is not like that. In fact, your name is the first part of you that normally ventures out in the world, right? Your name is on the register of every single institution of which you have ever been a part. The government has it written down in 100 places.
My
I
name causes issues with people looking me up when I go dating. This
Sure,
is
I
yeah,
can see
okay.
how that would be the case.
I
But
need to start going by Hammer.
if you went by Hammer, I don't know, that would kind of rock. But like, it's just it is a silly name. It is a silly name, and
Yes.
if your friends want to call him by his actual name, I really don't see how that's an act of disrespect.
I feel like nicknames are earned.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I don't want everyone to call me by a nickname. Like if somebody has a nickname for me, that's cute. But then if everybody started using it, I'd be like, it's actually annoying as well when you meet a new person and they start trying to abbreviate your name.
Mm.
You know, when they'll be like,
Okay,
"Hey,
Pat.
what's up?" Yeah, yeah, but like somebody I don't know, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Pat?" And I'm like, "I don't know you from a fucking hole in the ground. Why are you trying to make us friends, bro? Like, leave me the fuck alone." Like, my name is Patrick. That is my name. Call me that.
I
Um,
get called Edward sometimes by people. I'm like, that is not even my fucking name. Like, I know you're trying to be cute and use my long name, but like, I'm not English, and that's not how we do things in America.
it's a downgrade on Theodore is a better name than Edward as well. Like,
I
sorry
agree.
to any Edwards listening, but I hate the name Edward, but I think Theodore kind of
I don't want to come
sucks.
out as being like, double standards here on this nickname stuff because I had a friend in college and his name was Matt and he was 6'5". And at one point he was like, offensive defensive line at an Oklahoma high school. But when he went to university, he was a tuba player. and,
Hmm.
and and a girl that was from Wisconsin that came down to Oklahoma for university, she's like, "Oh, Matt, you're such a lug." In the first week that we knew this guy, from that point forward, his name and the only thing he ever got introduced as by every single person in that friend group was Lug. Somebody new
Hmm.
would come in, hey, this is Lug. And he's like, he couldn't fight it. There was no possible way that you could fight through it. He was just Lug. And eventually he started to adopt like, different elements of it. His parents loved the fact that we only called him Lug. So we
Hmm.
went down to hang out with his parents at like lake time and stuff and do camping. And eventually there was one time we were drinking tequila. He brought like a big sombrero and he brought one of those like Mexican poncho blankets. And he's like,
Hmm.
I am LUG. And that was his persona from that point forward. So anyway, there are times when a nickname actually is a better version of the person and doesn't make people feel silly because when you have a 6'5" tuba player that's kind of goofy, like he might just be a lug and it just every time you meet him, you're like, yeah, I get it. That makes sense. I don't know about this Hammer person, but it's kind of a weird nickname. And I'm not sure that I'd be like excited to call anybody Hammer.
No, I just think it's silly. Like I've just met you and you're saying I need to call you Hammer. You better show me that birth certificate, brother. Because if it doesn't say Hammer on there, I'm gonna call you Pete or whatever you're called. Like so I just yeah, I just think it's silly and like I can understand that you feel like your friends are not making an effort. It'd be worth saying to them, like, I feel like maybe you're not taking the relationship seriously or something like this. But I don't know, if I were your friend, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to call him Hammer. I'm going to call him by his fucking name. And if we get to know each other, maybe later on I'll call him Hammer. But this idea that like genuinely, I can't get over this thing that he prefers his actual name to only be used by his family. I mean, it's like he's fucking like Voldemort or something. Like it's just like I don't know. It's just like this weird thing. It's like, oh, my special name. Oh, if they Rumpelstiltskin. Like if
Can I
they
call him
know my
Ham?
name, I lose. Yeah, exactly. Can you call him Ham? That's the thing. They should be able to come up with their own nickname for him.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Peter
Um,
Parker, the spectacular Spider Ham.
yeah, the Spider Pig. Look,
Feel like
I
we're
think it's
for
silly.
some reason this reminds me of the story. I think Julia Stiles told it when they were had the premiere of one of the Bourne movies in London,
Hmm.
and Prince showed up and he invited them to like some after party after the premiere, and they were all there and like everybody was like super crazy excited to meet Prince, and Prince then he's like, oh, or Matt Damon was like, hey Prince, I heard that you live in Minnesota, and he's like, no, Matt Damon, I live in my own heart. And for some reason, I'm just like, this feels like a Prince story, but I don't know if Hammer lives in his own heart. I just feel like I would definitely call Prince Prince, but I'm not sure about this dude.
But you better be Prince level if you want me to call you that.
I mean, absolutely. When you are, music royalty and one of the most talented people to ever pick up a guitar, like,
Yeah.
you deserve it.
You're like the coolest man on earth, then
Yeah.
it's fine. But yeah, sorry, Hammer. But no, thank you. Do we have time for another one?
Do you wanna do this one? This one's painful.
Yeah, well, now it is because we've talked about the hammer. But I don't think we have anything else here, like in
Well,
our
I've got
questions. I think
quick
we've ripped through our.
questions.
No, I'm
You're
saying we've ripped through the questions that we've got on the list. So I'm intrigued to hear what you've brought.
okay. So I brought some fun Patrick questions, which he requested because he did the last set, and I think it's only fair. So this is a little bit of like get to know you stuff. Should you happen to show up to future meetups, although this is being published after the last one,
Mm.
but also like it's fun to just throw things. And Patrick has opinions. I don't know if you guys have noticed this by following Patrick in his various different entertainment guises, but he occasionally will spout some things,
I'm
right?
very gentle. I'm very gentle and biddable, and I have no strong feelings about things.
Hmm. All right, we'll find out about that. Uh, who are your two favorite female musical artists? And I asked this question because many men, and I know it's not you, but many men only mostly
Mm,
listen to men, and it
sure.
bothers me for lots of reasons. But I asked this because I think people might be curious. Who are your two favorite female musical artists?
Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, is Kate Bush. I love Kate Bush. Like Kate Bush is one of the coolest people ever to do it. Like amazing producer as well as amazing. Like the Kate Bush's best songs are like among the best songs ever written. She's just like her own thing as well. Like the idea of writing a song called Wuthering Heights from the perspective of Kathy in Wuthering Heights, I think is so sick. And the fact it became a huge hit. I love Kate Bush and I want my kids to be into Kate Bush because I think she's cool. After Kate Bush, hmm,
Mm.
who's going through my head? There are lots of candidates here.
I did put him on the spot. I didn't allow him to sift or anything. These are like impromptu ones. You don't
So
have to
I
be exactly correct.
Yeah, so I don't love the music as much, but I do love Dolly Parton. I like a lot of her music, but I like Dolly Parton as like a person. But I think I might go. Do I go Lauren Hill or Nina Simone? Nina Simone. Nina Simone. Like just like one of the greatest, most distinctive voices ever, and just like insane banger after banger, and
On my
like
running mix too.
smart and like challenging and cool. Like just fucking the best, Nina Simone.
Sure.
Mm.
No,
Who are
that's cool.
yours?
This is super hard because like I've been into women's music for like a really, really long time. I no, I like honestly like I've for quite a
Okay.
long time it was like Pearl Jam and the grunge space, but then also like everybody that performed at Lilith Fair, which was like sort of an early
Hmm.
um, lesbian female only music festival
Sure.
that
Yeah.
traveled around the US. So like this is why it's like so challenging for me because there's like generations inside of this. Things like Indigo Girls or Sarah McLachlan or Tori
Sure.
Amos. Tori Amos
Yeah.
was
Sure.
Liz Fair in the early days, but she's not particularly musically talented. She's good, but like she couldn't sing on key. I think was a problem for me.
But Exile and Guyville is just like incredible.
Yeah, yeah, it's a excellent, excellent album. So yes, it's hard for me to choose like the way back times, and obviously like Lauren Hill is such a cool choice. Simone actually is the deeper cool choice cut. Um, I adore Kelly Clarkson's voice. I think it's incredible, and I am thinking about going to see her in person, like as part of her Vegas residency in the autumn.
Okay.
I think I just feel like I want to do that. I love voices, so
Mm,
big fan of voices. Maisie Peters, I've been into since she was like 17 years old. Really like her, but not
I don't
like
know her stuff at all.
yeah, she's like I ended up being girl pop, but she started out as like a really thoughtful little singer songwriter. She's opening for Ed Sheeran for most of the last year. But the other person that I was going to choose was my favorite voice I think of all time, and she has like a really interesting career. Her name's Patty Griffin.
Okay.
Ginger haired. She does mostly gospel or religious music now, but
Okay.
she did really interesting stuff back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, including some stuff about like gay and trans people. And like I don't think that her her sort of religious evolution has ruined her old views that were fairly progressive. But
Mhm.
God, the voice and the singer songwriting work from Patty Griffin is outstanding.
Cool. I mean, honestly, like the longer we talk about this, the more people are coming to mind. It's
It's
really a
endless.
problem.
It's endless.
Yeah. Like we didn't even mention like Aretha or something. Or like and then there are of course people who are just like in bands. You know, like Hope Sandoval, for example. Like I love Hope Sandoval. And even Sia, like the early stuff with like 07 was when I
Hmm.
kind of got into Sia. And then
Yep.
weirdly she just like exploded a few years later. And it's a really good question. This is a very good like are you a misogynist question on a date, I think.
And LSD actually was really cool too. So she had that combo album with Labyrinth and
Hmm.
Diplo that was like
Sure.
really very listenable. She's awesome and a great songwriter too. This is an endless answer. So I thought that it was a fun one. Let's take this back to the male side. Ugh.
All right.
Who's your favorite male actor?
Currently working.
Open ended question is open ended.
I'll go for someone currently working just to limit it. Probably Colin Farrell.
Oh.
Colin Farrell is so wonderful. Like I think he's a classic character actor in the body of a star, like guy. And he had that weird run in the early 2000s where people kept he was so pretty that they were like he's got to be a star. But and that was when he was, you know, really in the throes of alcohol addiction as well. And but he's just a fucking wonderful actor. Like, and his later career is amazing, and he's so hot, like which I think all people should be ideally. And he's also just seems to be like an incredibly stand-up guy as well. But I think his work is so nuanced and smart, and he's an amazing comic actor as well.
Hmm.
I think he's great in the Banshees of Inisherin, but I don't love that film that much. But then he was in After Yang the year before or the year after. He's just like really like beautiful perform. He's just the best. I really love Colin Farrell. I really really love him. He's like one of my favorite working actors. But man, it's tough. It's tough. There are a lot of people. I actually have more female actors. I think who I'm like, I'll watch anything with you in, than I do men off the top of my head. Like, who's yours for this?
So I wasn't limiting it. I thought again, sort of eras. There's a Gene Hackman choice inside of that
Totally.
like just recently died, and all of his stuff is fascinating. Hanks is the most obvious choice because everybody loves Tom Hanks, and Damon is like the current Tom Hanks in some ways. I think where like
It's
he's
interesting.
pretty uncomplicated. Most people love his stuff. It's pretty thoughtful. It's smart. He can do different types of roles. I genuinely think Affleck's choices though are fucking brilliant for the most part, unless he's just doing the patch or the Nick Cage thing and cashing checks. And so many of Affleck's movies, like I watched them and was like, God, he's just fucking great. I've not seen The Accountant 2. I have seen the original, the original, but yeah, the stuff that he's done on his own, he's just really really good. And even someone where he's setting up one of the great female performances in Gone Girl, like
He's
he's
great in
putting in
Gongo.
a great what's up?
He's great in Gongo. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so fucking good in Gongo.
Yeah, and he's good, but also like he's setting up Rosamund Pike to be like effervescent,
Mm.
and that's important too. So if I had to choose, it's probably of the current generation, it's Affleck, even though I think Damon is probably more fun on a consistent basis.
I love those choices. Like I agree that I think Affleck has really good taste. There are actors who like I don't think Nick Holt like I like Nick Holt as an actor. I think he's a good actor, but I wouldn't argue he's the best actor. But I think he has great taste. Like all the projects that he takes on are almost always projects that I think are really interesting and fun. But Hanks, especially late era Hanks, like I think the last 15 years of Hanks' career it's better than his like miracle run in the 90s. Like he's the last 15 years of his career is absolutely astonishing. Like the last scene of Captain Phillips, amazing. Bridge of Spies is so fucking good and so underrated. He's great in Sully. Like he just kicks ass. I'm a big late era Tom Hanks. Like just absolute fucking nothing but net every single time.
My kiddo, my 10-year-old, came out of nowhere in the last week of school, and she's like, "Oh, we watched this movie. You probably haven't seen it. It's with this guy, and he gets trapped on an island, and he." And I was
Who's this
like,
guy? Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
it's beautiful. I was like, "Is there a volleyball?" She's like,
Mm,
"Yeah." It's like, "Yeah, I've seen it."
mm. Oh
Uh,
man, oh,
I
I
got
love Tom Hanks. We didn't
two
even mention
more.
like Denzel or like or Philip Seymour Hoffman, Albert Finney, who I think is like up there with Hackman as like, is this the
Hmm.
greatest screen actor of all time? Like maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, watch Denzel's Shakespeare stuff. Like that.
Oh, it's
That's
sick.
that will set your arm hairs on. Like it's just, yeah.
Get you horned up. Watch him in the Branagh Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, I love that. By the
Oh,
way, except for Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, I do not enjoy in
I
that. But
kind of
everything.
love him in that part though. I think he's so funny. But like, but yeah, man. Like I completely agree because like with Denzel, the musicality of his voice is
Mm.
so incredible, and he delivers Shakespeare so naturally and like beautifully. Like, man, every time I watch that film, I'm just like, how did anybody recover from watching this? How is everyone not just like bricked up watching this film in the 90s?
And
This
I
guy's so
was
hot.
I was like so jealous of Brenna then because like Emma Thompson is just like,
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
And well, and young and little young Kate Beckinsale's in that film as well, but I think maybe an actual child.
Okay. Uh, what thing from the last year, approximately, are you most evangelical about?
What thing from the last year?
Thing is an open term. It's not tightly defined.
Oh, oh my god. I might honestly need to think about this. Can you give me yours while I have a little think?
So the thing I'm probably most evangelical about is sauna,
Okay.
from the last couple of years, and there are lots of good reasons. And I'm constantly talking to men about how beneficial it is to their health. And the one that I think I didn't expect that I have wholly adopted is protein shakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I love a protein shake. And I think I dismissed it in negative ways because I was a fucking idiot before. And so I apologize to anybody who was on the other side of that.
Man, okay, well I'll keep it in this realm to get us out of media. Maybe vitamin D. Like vitamin D now I'm kind of like, oh, you can just spend a tenner every 3 months and it will massively help your energy and everything will feel brighter and better.
Get the
It's such an
spray
easy
stuff that
fix.
goes in your cheek because that's the
Yeah,
best way to absorb it. But absolutely. And it's so important for places that have darkness and winter.
like the UK.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
like North America, anywhere in Europe really is surprisingly far north.
Mm,
Yeah, vitamin D would be like probably my third choice around it, and I laugh about it. But I didn't expect protein shakes to like really start to make up part of my diet or part of my recovery in the way that they have.
mm,
And I used to think that it was people who were dieting that took them, as opposed to people that
sure.
are quite healthy that are just trying to get more protein into their diets.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's a great one. Like if it becomes just part of your diet and you don't mind it, then it's pretty great.
I have a question that I don't even have an answer for. So I'm going to apologize ahead about this one because it's kind of a big one. But maybe you do. Maybe you've got things in front of you. What's the next big change you're bringing into the world?
Next big change I'm bringing into the world.
Or
Goodness
about
me.
yourself? Or about yourself? Like, I think that this is more open and could be personally focused.
Hmm. I am okay. The thing I'm trying to change about myself is a leaning into my vulnerability. I think I've mentioned this before, but I still find it very hard to show people the parts of myself that I feel to be weak. And when I'm hurt, it's still very tempting to become angry. It's always been that way. But like when somebody hurts you, the last thing you want to say to the person who hurt you is like, "Here, like here's my like soft neck. Like please don't hurt me." But I'm trying to do it more. So actually I did it with my wife this morning, and it was fucking hard because I had to talk about something that was really upsetting me. But I'm trying to do that more because as much as it's comfortable to lean into my anger, and it's a long-standing habit, it's not working for me anymore. It's not serving me anymore,
Mhm.
and it moves me away from the people I love. So I've got to try and do this. So that's the main thing I'm focused on. I don't know if it's a change I'm bringing into the world so much, but like
The change you bring into you.
what I'm intrigued to know where your mind was when you came up with this question.
Well, we've been talking very much about people enacting their own change and giving themselves space for growth. But also sometimes like your change is like, this is a thing that I'm so passionate about that I want to birth into the world or that I want to start to give people. Sometimes maybe you've behind the scenes, like have been, my my mental creative space has gone over here lately, and I'm really excited to keep whittling away on this. Hopefully, sometime in the next 2, 3, 6 months, like I'll be able to show people
Mm.
something. I don't know. It was kind of an interesting thought, but it goes in line with us kind of living what we're preaching and discussing to people, which is that continuing to grow, continuing to change. I was talking to my therapist, and I had a really interesting set of conversations recently with a couple of different groups that were effectively offering me jobs or like large projects. And they might be heavy travel projects or they might be, significant time commitments. And I was chatting with her, and she was saying, well, what do you want? And how are you thinking about these things? And I hadn't really gotten to the crux of the thing. And then I was like, oh, I really want to continue to give myself space to grow. And I think that the default for me, when you talk about your default being anger, the default for me is like passionately pursuing another project that is huge, right? Like I
Mhm.
like do this, do that, do that. Oh, I think there's huge change here. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to throw myself into it. I've spent the last 20 years working 60 hours a week. Like I could do it again. I know how to do all this.
Mm.
What I don't do is really offer myself space without crushing constraints or expectations around it to just find out like what I really want to do. How do I explore relationships with people? How do I spend time traveling? How do I take my kids here, there, and everywhere? And that is a huge change for me that I have
Mm.
not done. Also, I love the company that is being built right now. And so I really wanted to have another year to really start to thrive. Like first year was
Mhm.
like very experimental,
Sure.
and I like the people that we're working with. I like what we're producing. I think the responses have been unbelievable. Like that continues to like really push things up. And so because of that, I want to be able to be there and just nurture it and let it become whatever it's going to be. And in some cases that
Mm.
takes a lot of work for me to be able to do it. In some cases it's not that much work, but I need to just let it have time and space to do so. So those are two different ways that I've been thinking about this question, and they're kind of aligned in that how do I really want to spend my time and my focus going forward? And part of that is internally I need to give myself space and the ability to grow without giving it crushing amounts of work and focus
Yeah.
which I've almost never done.
Yeah, it's funny because the question is very outwardly focused, like what kind of change do you want to put in the world? But actually what you're talking about is maybe taking something back from the world over the last, 20 years where you've been focused on it's something we've talked about before in your CEO role, but like focused on giving. It might be nice to take a little bit, even if it's just of your own time and attention for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And many, many, many men don't choose to do that. They might never have the opportunity to do it, or they might never make the choice to do it because, as we've said many times in this show, we're a little bit unbound by standards these days. We're a little bit unbound by like what are we exactly supposed to do? What are the roles and responsibilities that we have to live up to? And so it takes you time to discover that. It takes you time to like research it and figure out how am I comfortable with these things? What is my code? What are my set of principles? In some cases, it's too hard for people. It's like too much space, too much, too much complexity that I could choose, and they just opt out.
I liked your accidental 50 Cent in there, where you were like many men, many, 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 many men. I feel like I did an accidental Bon Jovi in the previous one, where I was just like, I think I said like we've got to live while we're alive. That is Bon Jovi, isn't it? And
Sounds
then
right, yeah.
afterwards, I was just like, oh fuck. Like,
I guess the hip hop thing goes back to like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego too. Like I'm just like
sure.
my brain's like all all back in the day. Shadrach, Eshach, and Abednego. I think that these are fun little questions, and part of it is us just sort of exploring the fun bits. Like Patrick, what are your other podcasts, by the way? Like we've never plugged your alternative bigger podcasts on here.
My alternative bigger podcasts, like I
Well, you
mean,
have bigger podcasts that you hang out on that have nothing to do with the ones that are with me.
no, not anymore. Not anymore. Like now I have Man Down now, and obviously we have the Transfer Flow that we do together, and that we have Hayden and Neil on. But the other one, the only one other one I have now is my personal one, which
Is that
is
unseen incidents?
Unseen Incidents, which was based on the idea, that years ago when somebody would Arsene Wenger about something that he didn't want to talk about, he'd say, "I didn't see the incident." So I was just like, okay, that's what we're going to kind of focus on here. That's one I do with my friend Pete Dorman, and that was honestly kind of created because, well, originally I was just writing, but then people said they wanted a podcast, and I thought it was a really good excuse to spend some time with a friend. And we were like friends when we started, but we are so much closer now because we spend like 3 hours recording every couple of weeks, and obviously we talk more in between. And it's been great because that 3 year period has included the birth of my second child, the birth of his first child, his wedding. Like, there's loads of stuff in there that maybe I'd have felt more on the periphery of if it weren't for the fact that we've got closer through it, which is really nice. And also we have like a stupid segment on it called the Burn Book, where we put stuff in the Burn Book and take stuff out of the Burn Book. So stuff that we hate and stuff that we love. And that's kind of an interesting way to try and take stock of what you've been thinking about lately, and also as well just to get ideas for shit that I can buy. Like air fryers and rice cookers and stuff. But
I have an air fryer in my kitchen that I've never unpacked.
really, I like
Yeah.
the air fryer. I think you'd like the air fryer.
I think I would. It's just I haven't needed it, and the Ninja Creamy is the thing that like gets all the attention and
No,
in the kitchen.
the Ninja Creamy. I don't want to touch it really. I don't want to go down that road. Actually, recently on that topic, because it sounds like what something we just
No, stop.
no.
There's a soft serve version of the Ninja Creamy that maybe makes
The
you
Ninja
even...
Creamy soft serve. But what I was going to say is this sounds like a college football name. Would they be like Ninja Creamy soft serve?
General Booty.
He plays for Louisiana Tech.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we did this recently. So we did like a college football name bracket because we used to love. Do you remember? I don't know if you follow this, but the Name of the Year tournament.
Yes, and also I have multiple different friends that I have these discussions with. College
Oh,
basketball has many
best.
more players, and so then you get more that come out of college basketball. Nikos Overhoyle, who we used to work with, who's also in our Slack. Like Nikos and I follow like all of the best names in soccer, and we bring them up to each other. And then
Mm.
he also follows basketball too. So absolutely, I am on board with this. Ninja
Do you-
Creamy Soft Serve is definitely an American footballer name.
I think in football, I never really got past Jizz Hornkamp.
Flamer Castrati was all timer.
Woof. Do you ever remember? Do you remember Louis Van Gaal at a press conference? Somebody asked him about the fact that his two brothers are called Dick and Cock, and like they asked the most humorless man in football about it, and he was just like, "I don't see what's funny about this. This is just normal names in the Netherlands," and he couldn't see what was funny about it at all.
Yeah, Louis also has fantastic press conferences that end up veering into the funny. You're not sure if he's intentionally absurd or if he's
Oh,
just
he's the
that
best.
guy.
I love that guy, man. But it got me thinking about the names of the year. So we did a bracket for like the college football this year, which was very strong, very strong.
Mm.
But I do recommend, if you never got into it, like for like 10 years, I would follow the Name of the Year tournament featuring names like Math Daniel McSquirrel and Jeff Rosenberg Tan and Fat John Cake.
That John King.
Fat John, Fatjon, all one word, and his surname's Cake. That's my favorite name of all time. I really recommend it if you're into this kind of silly nonsense. But anyway, that is what I do on my other podcast. But that's my boutique podcast. That's our small stuff for a specialist audience, and then this is like the kind of main line.
The way that you were describing that podcast, though, made me think that, so many women are like, why do all these men have podcasts? It's so they can spend more time with their friends.
Yeah, that's entirely what it is.
Almost literally, that's what it is.
Mm.
And there you have. And if you understood that, you would be encouraging of it as opposed to thinking it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you're like, if you can have a dumb conversation with your friend and make money on it through Patreon, then like, why would you not do that? Like,
Yeah, and just
it's only fans for men. It's like having a podcast on Patreon.
And on that note, thank you once again for listening to us. We have wandered here, there, and everywhere, but hopefully you've had a good time. If you enjoyed it, comment in the comments, which we love to hear. If you have any questions for us, let us know. Like, subscribe, tell your grandmother how much you love us, and tell Patrick too, because he's powered entirely by love and vibes. Say goodbye, everybody.
True. Bye.
So our producer brought up the fact that Patrick did not give him closure on this particular thing, which is, did you have a winner for the college football bracket, the name bracket.
Of course we did. You know, like there's got to be a winner, otherwise it doesn't count. As everybody in America knows. But look, General Booty was a strong contender. Dude Person and Memorable Factor were both strong
That
ones as
that last
well.
one has to be a horse. Can't
It's
be.
so good. But like the thing about General Booty, I think just didn't speak to us. So in the end, the winner was Pig Cage. Pig Cage. It's just because in my mind as well, it's like Piggerless Cage or something. Like it's so fucking like it reminds me of Nick Cage in the film Pig, obviously, but like Pig. Something there was a guy in the Name of the Year draft years ago called Doctor Shark Bird, and I think about this name like once a week. And Doctor Reason, and there's Reason Machete as well, and I think about those all the time.
I have
But
seen
Pig
that one.
Cage is just like sometimes one just hits you right, and I was like, General Booty is undeniably excellent, but it doesn't like warm, it doesn't like blow on the ember in my heart. Whereas Pig Cage, I can't think about it without feeling pure joy.
I'm put right back in the space of like the Spectacular Spider Ham again, which
So good, man. Oh my
I
god.
am I wrong in thinking that General Booty had brothers that were like named Major?
See, that's better. Major Booty is better than General Booty. Or if you had like Colonel Booty or something, like now we're talking.
My dog's name is Captain because he had this really long pedigree name, and I was like, "This is fucking ridiculous. He just needs a title." And so
Mm,
we called him Captain, and everybody's like,
sure.
"That's a great name for a dog. Love that." I was like, also, I didn't want to have like Lieutenant. That didn't seem like you know.
And that's a difficult one with Americans and Brits as well. You know, they get territorial about it. Captain is good
Aluminium.
though. Like so he's the highest ranking member of your household then.
Yeah, he's a 14-year-old dog, and everybody picks up after him. And
Sure.
he doesn't really get in trouble for anything because, like, what's the point? Yeah. All right, that wraps us. Sorry, we had to come back in order to answer the question about who won the name bracket, and it
Pig
was Pig
Cage.
Cage.
Pig Cage. Congratulations.